adolescent girl child faces challenges which hinder her development as a child, such as poverty, gender inequality, and sometimes violence. It is vital to secure a better future for girls in Nigeria. The challenges of adolescent girls need holistic approach with emphasis on the need for girls to meet their aspirations amidst various challenges. However, there is a need to promote awareness about the potentials of a girl child as the future of the society and encourage individuals to become change agents in empowering the girl child. This will be our focus on Nigeria today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ikaria Clinton. With me in the studio for the conversation of empowering the adolescent girl child is Dr. Olajumoke Adeniyi. She's the head of operations, Hassan Foundation, gender advocate. She's also the UNFPA mentor. It's a pleasure to have you in Nigeria today.
Thank you very much, Ikaria. The pleasure's mine.
Now, let's start with, talking about the adolescent girl child. What are some of the, or let's say, the major challenges that the adolescent girl child face in our society today?
Thank you very much for that question. In Nigeria in particular, the most populous country in Africa, the adolescent girl child is known to be faced with challenges like early child marriage, challenges like peer pressure, bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, gender-based violence, just to name a few among the many identity crises, trying to even understand who she is as at that very peculiar and tender age. Now faced with a lot of society challenges and even communities that do not understand what it means to raise healthy adolescent girl child.
Now, talking about these challenges, now looking at our own scenario, talking about the Nigerian situation, how far will you say that we have gone in addressing some of these challenges?
Nigeria has a very high population. I mean, the population of almost 4 or 5, even more countries. Lagos State, for example, is like the size of even you can even take almost 2 countries. I don't want to call their name, that are always arguing whose jollof rice is better. I don't want to mention names anyway. But talk about that size multiplied by 37. So there's a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of ground. We've been seeing interventions. We see intervention here at the FCT, the Center of Unity. We see interventions, a lot of it in Lagos State. But despite the interventions, because we have a massive population, we still have a lot of gaps. Take, for example, at the family front, you still see teasing. Even in developed countries, they're still having challenges with bullying, not to talk of Nigeria, a developing country. So we still have a lot of grounds to cover.
Now, thank you. I know we still have quite a lot to be done in the country as regards the adolescent child, empowering the adolescent child and the adolescent girl child. Now, how does inequality and affect the development and empowerment of the adolescent girl child?
Well, inequality not only affects the girl child, it's something that affects every gender and even age bracket. But specifically when it comes to the adolescent girl child, when we see a family front where we're still having challenges and the girl is being told, you go and make the food for your brothers, this is what we have in our community today. And it's just little by little that some of these things have started being countered to the point that they started fizzling out. It's just little by little. It's still it affects the adolescent girl child greatly, and affects not just the girl child, their mentality. When they get outside there, they want to take the second position, and they feel, okay, let me just stay back. I'm just a girl. What do I have to offer? And this is not supposed to be, because every human was created equal. I mean, I am a reproductive anatomist, a scientist by profession. But I've studied the human body. The male body and the female body, the number of bones that you have is still the same. There's nothing different. The brain cells function the same way. Yes, there may be a lot of influence when it comes to hormones, and this is even one of the things that has helped, but I don't want to go into science now, has helped shape our country and our world, because we can't afford to have everybody going in one direction. There has to be a balance, and that's the importance of when you're able to empower the girl child. She discovers what our role is, what our capacity is, that she's way beyond just a child bride, like some communities are still doing as of today. We still have it, and it's still very, very much present in our community, and it goes way beyond that. During one of our outreach at Hassan Foundation, Healthy and Safe Motherhood, we've come to discover that we don't just we know people focus on women, but we're not just, the women become women from a particular phase. They were first girls before they become women. And we've seen one of first of its kind of intervention take place at the FCTA, which took place yesterday. And this is the celebration of the Day of the Adolescent Girl Child, the first of its kind in FCTA. This was spearheaded by the FCTA Women Affairs Secretariat, and we were in collaboration with them. Many other collaborating partners came together and to equip the girls, and they did something different. We had a camp filled with 620 girls, not just the girls. When the camp, we had 310 girls and 310 boys. So we see there's a change that is coming up, and this was spearheaded by the Office of the Mandate Secretary, Honorable Dr. Didier Benjamin Lani. We see change. It's gradual, but it took a lot of deliberation, a lot of not giving up, a lot of courage to actually bring this, and we really appreciate. We saw the turnout of the event yesterday, and it was so massive. It was a very, not just a beautiful one, but it was something that was heartfelt. It was touching, and it really addressed a lot of these key areas in the lives of these children. And trust me, if we're able to replicate this in every other state in Nigeria, there is going to be a very great shift. It may be a journey of 1,000 years, to say, start with just one step.
Okay, earlier on when we were talking, you talked about, in families where they would ask the lady or the girl
yes.
to prepare food for the brothers.
Exactly.
Making them feel, okay, they are, how would I put it now, less of a human being
yes.
than the men. This superiority, creating that superiority, will I say that, that's also inequality, trying to make them feel, okay, you should serve the man. Now, what is the role of the guardian, the parents, in trying to change this narrative? Because, of course, it starts from home.
Exactly. What we're trying to say is, right from the onset, we have always lived in a patriarchal society. When you look at the helms of affairs, leadership, it's been more of the men up till the World War, when women started being introduced into workforce, and it's been more or less like a tussle of power. But this is not a controversial or a competitive society. Like, we're not importing disrespect. Yes, we are talking about embracing equity, embracing equality. In fact, equity is even higher than equality. Equity talks about you seeing each individuals and making sure they get what each of them needs for their peculiarity. Equity means when somebody is physically challenged, you provide them with everything they need, not just providing them with a physically challenged person and somebody who is not physically challenged have to pass through the same way. No, that's equality. May say, okay, have the same access. But when it comes to equity goes further and say, if you're using a wheelchair, we're going to have a special space for you. That is equity, so that we both can be able to achieve a common aim. And now, in the family front, what are we supposed to do? This is not to say that the woman should not nurture like a natural way. No, this is to say that the boys, we see this in a lot of families, and I've noticed something. Boys who have been encouraged to be involved in work in the home front, they tend to be hardworking. Because work is the first ethic that we learn in family. The first place where we learn work ethics is the family front. So we do not neglect and say, oh, this particular thing is for the boys. Cooking is a life skill. Everybody should know how to cook. Cleaning is a life skill. We all should know how to do that. We should not separate and say, oh, this is just a woman's work, this is a man's work. No. We are importing. We're not importing, we are getting to know and getting to get more exposure. And this, I'm repeating, doesn't mean that we're importing disrespect like some cultures do, and they say, oh no, men are this. No, that's not what we're talking about. Nigeria is a very cultured and highly respectful country. We're maintaining that while we're also encouraging and we're ensuring that we are breaking the barriers, and there is no barrier, so that each and every one of us can tap into that inbuilt potential as placed inside the individual. Take, for example, a woman can be a very good and excellent manager. Because why? If she's been wired to handle multiple children at the same time, handle and make sure everybody has their own share and everyone is well taken care of. We've seen this. Even research has shown that when you give a woman the work, there's more dedication, because the woman will first of all finish everything with her loyalty. The man is about, this is not to say, in fact, I love the men because of course I have a father. The man will want to find out what is in need for me first, but the woman would have, in most cases, finished saying, okay, let me just do this, let me just pour out my heart, let me just do what I need to get done. The work would have been done even before she even starts saying, oh, what is in need for me? But the man is going to start thinking, because he knows that somebody's going to wait and ask him something at home. So we're pushing for a culture where equity is not, we're not fighting any opposite gender, because we've gone beyond that. We understand everybody's peculiarity. Yes, we have a patriarchal society, and now we have gotten to the point whereby we need to ensure that each and every one of us, we have our own peculiar space, and we understand and we tap into that place of that inmate, that potential that has been placed inside each and every one of us by our Creator, and make the best use of it, and not just saying some people are meant to be at the kitchen and then they start, subjecting them to barbaric human practices like early child marriage or female genital mutilation, or seeing the woman as a sex object. That's what we're standing against, and that's why we need to change the directive, and we need to change the trajectory of the way we think, and especially beginning at the family front and the home front. Thank you
very much. We'll take a short break now. The conversation will continue after the break. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow, under digital economy, for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that our questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we're looking at empowering the adolescent girls in Nigeria. And of course, I have here with me a lady. And Dr. Olajumoke, earlier you mentioned quite a lot of points there. You also mentioned cultural barriers. We have a lot of cultural barriers. You agree with me?
Absolutely.
Even, somehow, I wouldn't really, even somehow religious barriers.
Yes. In
trying to, they empower the girl child. Now, how do we, address some of these barriers without stepping on toes?
It's simple. When we come from a point where everybody's opinion feel respected, at the same time we let them see the importance. Take, for example, somebody who's maybe a religious leader or some religious leaders who try to coin their own version of whatever part of their scriptures, because whether Islam or Christianity, we preach none of this religion speak against love. And if you truly say you love someone, you wouldn't want to make that person your slave. Just like a father cannot end up spending enormous amount of money for school fees and say, oh, I'm sending this child to go and be the special assistant of the kitchen affairs in somebody's house. Of course, a lot of men are going to want to stand against that. No, my daughter, no, I did this, I did that, I sent you to school. But some people, if they're not careful, the mother is the wife of that same person, may be sacrificing so much. And the truth is that we've started seeing changes. We've seen changes. I can speak for myself, because I came from, if my husband did not allow me to come to this show, I don't think I'm going to be here. So that's to tell you that, there is a change in the mindset of some set of people, and they don't feel that the woman has to be subjected to a particular area. Our culture, we need to let our religious leaders, and we did an outreach to the paramount ruler of the FCT, Abuja, 3 days ago, I think, yes. And we had a lot of the chiefs of the grassroots very much present. And we had to let them know that, in fact, we need to let them, we started telling them the cultural perspective. It's not as if we're saying we're throwing the culture away, no, because that is where the defense comes in. We're letting you know, for example, what the Honorable First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremiola Tinubu, OON, she said that, she gave a speech, in her speech she told us, she said, the women, what we're telling you is that you should try to be understanding. We see you, anyone who's gone through sexual and gender-based violence, we've seen you, we stand with you, we believe your pain, and we only want you to see it from another perspective. A woman can come home, you see what your husband or the men are going through outside. We all know what the economy is saying all over the world. We know the rate of inflation. And some people are genuinely, some, I didn't say all, I said some of these men are genuinely trying to fight for their family. She said, put pure water in your mouth. That is, it's not everything you have to react and fight. This has been in place as far back as even before the old white man whole thing came. And we've seen mutual respect. Back then, even in the Americas, before they started evolving and women going into the workforce, there was mutual respect. Everybody respected each other. We're saying you respect and appreciate your other half. Let them know that. Be kind to them. It's not when they are coming back, you started shouting and giving them ridiculous. Some people, I heard something on social media that some women are charging for antenatal fees, and I don't know, well, some hospitals may be doing it.
But that's the kind of mentality too, because if a lady is empowered, she wouldn't want to go to that extent.
And we did that today. We had a FCT Women Empowerment today at the Secretariat Hassan Foundation. We're looking at how we can bridge these gaps. We see it, we know. She didn't stop at that. She said, and the men too, empower your wives, set them up, let them have something that they're doing. You say you love her, you want her to be them. Let them have a way that they are contributing. That way we are able to reduce the rate at which you're going to be having ridiculous demands. At the same time, you're also going to be reducing the rate at which you're going to be coming home to enormous or unrealistic expectation, when she knows and she understands what you're going through to get what you're bringing. She's also going to work in understanding. And then there's peace in the family. When there's peace in the home, it takes a family is the unit, a single functional unit of a country, just like the cell is a unit of life. So we can't take out the importance of family. When this family is at peace, that family is at peace. Virtually, before we know it, the peace spreads around, and Nigeria is safe. Everyone is okay, and we may not get there in the instant, but little by little, it's going to spread on and it's going to go around. So that's what we're trying to say. We are changing the narrative. We're not talking down the culture. No, we appreciate. We have a rich culture. We have beautiful culture. They They even import our culture, take it outside. They're taking Nigerian languages is now foreign languages in some countries. They start singing. So yes, we have
now, Dr. Jumoke. Now we are in the era of technology. Now, what role, how can technology and digital skills be leveraged to empower the adolescent girl?
Wow. You see, this technology you mentioned, technology is a two-way sword, and we can never take out technology. Technology has come to stay, because without technology, it would even be impossible for a lot of people to see us and find out what we're even doing the way we're doing it. So we need to empower them. We need to let them know, number one, at that boot camp, we had them understood that we even took out their phones, because these adolescents, they are getting so much. A lot of the bullying comes from online. When they start seeing, oh, this is how my body looks, I wish I was like this other person that just sucked our belly to feel uncomfortable to take a particular striking pose that is unrealistic. But this same technology has been able to transform lives. We now start telling them these are the tools. We have people taking courses online. We have courses, we have Coursera, just to name a few of these courses. People getting empowered, equipped. This technology is what helps us to see what is happening in the other continents, other countries, what is working, and this is how we can also leverage. We tell them, utilize these tools, make use of them, learn what your other friends are doing positively to make their lives better, and this way you can also make your lives better. But technology is something that we have to handle. In fact, there's another topic on its own. We have to handle it carefully, because even people who are grown up and matured get carried away with technology if they're not careful. And so the case of addiction is on that way, but we have to make sure that we practice and we emphasize on the positive use of technology, while ensuring that they learn to build the barrier, they learn to place a boundary, and they learn to put it as a lifelong skill. We have to keep learning it, and we have to make sure that these children are learning it, and not just tailoring their lives to be hook, line, and sinker of what they see online. But no, they are choosing the positive part of it and replicating it in order to make themselves better, in order to achieve that potential. It doesn't just end as a potential, but it becomes a realization of what has been placed inside of them as their own natural, passionate ability to make their world a better place.
That also brings me to the next question of the mentorship. What role does mentorship, play in trying to guide the adolescent girl? Because quite a lot they learn from what they see.
Yes. The place of mentorship. There's a popular saying that says that if you have fathers, you go farther. And also, there's the one in the Yoruba one. I don't know how to say it now.
Say it in Yoruba now.
Okay, it says that. Oh God, how did I drop it blank? The place of a mother in the life of a child. When I don't even know, I can't remember, but there's something that talks about the place of a mother in the life of a child. It is, in fact, the mother's poem was the first poem I knew. Who sat and watched my infant? So the place of the mother is, you can't take it out. It is priceless. That is what connects with the nitty-gritty of the individual. And when a child is able to come, mentorship should start in the family. But we see parents nowadays, we see Gen Z parents, we see parents that are still in training, that are not yet ripe parents. We see them, they say they don't want their children to suffer. The parents that are taking their own lessons from social media, please, what do they want to teach the child? Some parents, all they know how to do is how to dance and do choreography, and that's the lesson they teach the child. And how to say, take 1, 7 blow. That is not what is going to make our society to be a better place. Mentorship has to come from the right place. And if the parent, you know that you cannot teach this child, go for mentorship class yourself. Teach, learn, then learn positive things, and then that's what you need to put down.
Which means you can't give what you don't have.
Honestly, you can't give what you don't have.
Thank you so much.
Just as simple as that.
Thank you so much. This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Dr. Olajumoke Adeni. She's the head of operations, Hassan Foundation. She's also a gender advocate and also a UNFPA mentor. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. And thank you for being part of the program. Remember, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for being there. I'm your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.